everyone. Welcome back to this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Brody. I'm joined alongside my co-host and good friend Tony Cepeda. And Bears win. Bears are 2-2 now. The Bears defeat the Detroit Lions at Soldier Field 24-14, led by another great defensive effort. Bill Lazor's play calling and the one and only Justin Fields. Tony's got the shirt on. We're all about it. But before we dive into it, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Stupid Card Tray.
Stupid Card Tray is what I'm using this victory Sunday to celebrate with some deep dish from the one and only Lou Malnati's. Keeping my Chicago Classic flat and looking fresh out of the oven, not getting grease everywhere on my pants, on my couch, anything like that. So check it out in below, the link below in the description, and let's get into it. Go Bears.
Let's get into it. Go Bears. Bears are now 2-2 on the season. They are currently sitting in second place behind the Green Bay Packers. But Packers are playing the Steelers right now, and we are rooting for the Steelers hard because if the Steelers win, the Packers and Bears are tied for first place in the NFC North again. The Vikings lost today to the Cleveland Browns, so that means that they are now 2-2 as well. Or I'm sorry, they are 1-3, I believe. Holy cow. The Vikings, though Kirk Cousins is like considered one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now, the Vikings are still, they are 1-3. Holy shit. So sorry about that. But let's get into a little quick overview of today's Bears game. So Justin Fields did very well in his first career start at home for the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field. He went 11 for 17 with 209 yards and 1 interception. No, it was not his fault. It was a tip off the defensive line, and Darnell Mooney was already slipping. There was no way he could even try to catch or deflect the ball. So it was not Justin Fields' fault. He had 3 rushes for 9 yards. So he made some very good choices, very clean, deep balls. It was super impressive. I tweeted out earlier and I texted Tony about it. We haven't seen a Bears quarterback throw it deep like that since Mitch's 6 touchdown game against the Buccaneers a couple years ago. So he made plays for himself. He was spinning away defenders, wasn't sacked once. Shout out to the offensive line. We'll get into that in a little bit. But overall, great effort by Justin Fields. And thanks to the guy named Bill Lazor calling the plays after showing he was what the Chicago Bears needed on the offensive side of the ball to see success. In total, there was 373 total yards on offense, 185 total passing yards. Again, that's because Justin Fields kind of moved around in a couple different ways. 188 total rushing yards and 3 touchdowns for the Chicago Bears, including a field goal. Shout out Cairo Santos for 32 field goals in a row. How impressive. Yes, it was Detroit, but it is a great confidence builder, especially going to a very rough 5-game stretch for the Chicago Bears in the upcoming weeks. Stay tuned for that. We have an analysis on that moving forward. Defense looked awesome. 4 sacks, 2 fumbles, only allowing 90 rushing yards. And David Montgomery is the big story of today. He left today's game with a very gruesome knee injury. I would highly suggest not looking at it. It was very disgusting. Have no idea how David Montgomery is walking right now, but he was able to walk off the field. But we don't know. He's definitely going to be out for a significant amount of time. But Damian Williams and Khalil Herbert did a great job stepping in and doing what they had to do for this offense in order to carry the team, no pun intended, to victory. Bears are 2-2, second place. Love to see it. Go Steelers, defeat the Packers. Tony, what are your thoughts on today's games before we dive into the offense?
Yeah, and we'll get into it in more specifics, of course, but I'm obviously very happy with the end result. You had to beat the Lions. That's, that was a given. Fields looks amazing on those deep balls. That was, like you said, yes, since Mitch Trubisky against the Bucs, I was thinking even Jay Cutler just in general, like the only other quarterback in Chicago Bears history in my memory that could, even put the ball close to like where he was putting in the back shoulder in some of those windows. It was just really cool to see. I was in awe every time. The defense looks awesome. But the only thing I am worried about is, actually, you mentioned a 5-game stretch. I was only thinking of the next 3, but you're right about the 5. Are we going to be able to keep this up against the next, 3 to 5 opponents? Raiders, Packers, and Bucs are the next 3. I know we got the 49ers and the Steelers as well. I hope we can. I hope that it is because Bill Lazor's calling the plays. I think we'll see, but overall, great result. That's what's important. We won today. We'll worry about tomorrow. That's what I think.
Yeah, the Bears won. That's all that matters right now. Because if the Bears would have fallen to 1-3, obviously Matt Nagy would not have a job. But it shows that Matt Nagy is more of a leader in regards to anything. He is not a play caller. Bill Lazor is the play caller for the Chicago Bears. That is what's going to help this team. So we're going to get into that in a second right here. But overall, what a team victory. Bears are 2-2. So let's go into the offensive side. Let's get a little bit more detailed with it. We only gave you guys upper hand stats. We're going to get into the nitty gritty of it now. Bill Lazor for mayor of Chicago. What a turnaround for this offense. Great job balancing the run and the pass today, along with different types of plays and actually letting Fields air it out deep. They aired it out to Darnell Mooney a few times, and guess what happened? Darnell Mooney went 5 for 125 yards today. That's what happens when you have a speedy receiver with great hands. You have a good connection between Fields and Mooney. So that was awesome to see. Hats off to Bill Lazor for calling a great game. And again, 4 plays today for more than 20 yards on the offense through the air. There was only 1 the whole season for the first 3 games under Matt Nagy's play calling. So Bill Lazor, way to take the risk, way to get the ball out there. It was awesome to see, because at Soldier Field, you really don't see the camera zoom out too much when you have to watch the ball like go in the air. It's always on the ground, it seems like, or just short little slant passes. So great job by Justin Fields and Bill Lazor there. Fields overall did play well. No touchdowns today for him. He had an interception that was not his fault, but a win is a win, and the rookie looked awesome. So Tony, how do you think of Fields' overall performance today?
I do think it was fantastic for it being his first, his first home start, his first start with like a true full week of practice. I know he had it, but it was like, Dalton might come back after that injury. This was truly like, this is Justin Fields' team, at least for this week. Let's see how he does. Let's see how he bounces back after a big loss, a terrible, terrible loss. That again wasn't really his fault. But overall, he is truly the prince that was promised. I'm in love with him. He's, I'm still wearing the shirt. I might wear it for the rest of my life. Who knows? So the deep balls to Mooney and Allen Robinson again were amazing, and that's the versatility he brings to this offense. That not that Dalton cannot throw the ball far, but it's the fact that he can move around. He kind of brings those different options to this Bears team, and again, he just puts that ball right on a dime. Again, jaw dropped the whole time. Shout out Kenny Grimes. He called me out when they did that one. It was the first long pass. I think it was to Mooney. And I said, Justin Fields for mayor in all caps, spelled Justin wrong. I was so excited. So thanks for calling me out on that, Kenny. But I'm excited going forward. I think you did awesome.
Hey, watch out. If Kenny watches this, he's going to call you out again. It's Kenny Games, so watch out. So
I'm sorry. I'm really tired today. My apologies. I'm just happy. The Bears won. That's all that matters.
You're still in awe about how these passes went today. So I don't blame you at all for that. But you know what I'm in awe about, Tony, is the offensive line. The offensive line did not allow 1 sack today against the Detroit Lions. And again, they don't have Myles Garrett on the other side of the ball. They don't have Javion Conley on the other side of the ball. But what a bounce back for this team. Fans literally freak out over one game. We were completely involved in it. 9 sacks is horrible, but the offensive line is 3 for 4 this year on games. And they did contain Aaron Donald. I think last week was just a total mojo mess up in Cleveland. There was nothing that went right for the Bears, and Bill Lazor also was not calling the plays. So hats off to them for another good game today. I hope that they continue this up, especially against, the next 5 games. And it's good that they're all healthy after this game, knock on wood. But what a day for the Chicago Bears offensive line. Hats off to them. And also, no penalties. There was a 1 on James Daniel, I believe, and I don't think there was any more offensive holding or false start penalties for the rest of the day. So Justin Fields was able to connect with his offensive line this week. He ran with the 1. So Justin Fields, it looks like he's going to be the guy moving forward. Hopefully Matt Nagy kind of goes up to Dalton and be like, yeah, you're going to take your $10 million and sit on the bench until something happens. So, overall good day with that. Let's go to Darnell Mooney and Allen Robinson really fast. They were cooking today for the Chicago Bears. Again, Darnell Mooney had 5 catches for 125 yards, so 25-yard average per catch. That is awesome. That's moving the sticks, not only once, but 2.5 times. So watch out for that. Allen Robinson, 3 catches for 63 yards. Wasn't too busy, but whenever he got the opportunity, he was making big, big plays. So awesome day by Allen Robinson. Hats off to him as well. You don't see that often, Tony, from this Bears offense. So, I'm excited. I know you are, but I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, and I will say that first big catch by Darnell Mooney, I genuinely think is one of the greatest catches I've ever seen a Bears wide receiver make. That was, going back to the Johnny Knox catches where he'd kind of just go up and catch everything. Musa Muhammad, that just full extension layout, one hand bringing it in, because it was kind of in front of him. It wasn't the perfect pass from Justin Fields. However, that's how you help build confidence in your guys, saying, just put it near me, I'll make the play. That's exactly what you love to see from your wide receivers.
Yeah, and this is exactly what the Bears, as fans and what the coaches wanted to see. They put together this great wide receiver room, and you have quarterbacks that can throw it down the field, whether that be Justin Fields, Andy Dalton, or even Nick Foles. And now they have the opportunity. All you needed was the play caller, and that's what Bill Lazor is doing for this team. Now let's go into what's the 2 things that kind of are the negative on the offense of the day. Obviously, we are really worried about David Montgomery. Again, David Montgomery suffered a knee injury in the 3rd quarter. Again, do not look at the video if you even have the opportunity. It's pretty gruesome. And the fact that Montgomery was able to get up is shocking, but really bad. He left immediately. He walked off the field, went straight into the locker room. Tony Williams, Damian Williams, our second string running back that we signed from Kansas City, looked pretty good filling in. Had a couple nice plays, was able to, a couple screen passes, was able to break it up. Also, he's pretty strong and can bulldoze three guys. So overall, how does that make you feel seeing that fourth quarter of Damian Williams and Khalil Herbert? Khalil Herbert didn't have as many opportunities as Williams, but how does it make you feel? Because we know Monty's going to be out for at least the next week or two.
Yeah, so it does make me feel a little bit better just because I know he is a quick back. So that is an awesome option to have, especially with Justin Fields, someone he could dump it off to. Not that he couldn't to Montgomery, but it is, again, it's still a good option there. So we're not completely screwed, I don't think, at the running back position. And I love Khalil Herbert after what he did in the preseason. I think he's awesome. I think he's a guy that carries. He's willing to do anything. He's had some great returns, whether it's on kickoff or whatever. So I think he's willing to contribute. He's going to try to earn his spot on this team. So I think that we should at least be able to bridge the gap till Montgomery comes back. My one concern is, I know you said Damian Williams can still, he can bowl people over, but no one does it like Monty. I mean, he just, getting 5 yards after contact minimum, eats broken tackles and arm tackles for breakfast. So that's what I'm a little worried about when it's 3rd and 1. I don't know if we have the guy that we're just going to hand it off up the middle to. So hopefully it isn't as long-term as honestly it did look like. But I guess we'll see. Time will tell. I'm sure we'll talk about that this week.
Yeah, and absolutely. I think another thing is that we have Ryan Null on the practice squad still. So I mean, he is he's within the Bears organization reach at least. So if you need to bring up Ryan Null, he's a bulldozer. He can get through there. Or you saw JP Holtz out there as a fullback. You're on the goal line. Just hand it off to your fullback. Bears haven't seen that for a long time. Could be awesome. Another negative from today was Matt Nagy still had a pretty decent a negative impact on this game at moments. You didn't see it. They really didn't talk about him today because he really wasn't doing that much besides making sure that the plays were being called correctly. He had his scorecard with him, but you didn't see him calling plays. I'll start with the first one. I wrote this one down. I know some people are like, it's not that big of a deal, but just in a perspective, we won the toss and usually teams end up kicking it away first, or kicking it off first. So we receive it to start the second half. And depending on the situation, Matt Nagy is notoriously known for doing that, but we won the toss and we received first. I assume that's because of, we want to get the offense going right out of the gate, get that confidence going, get the mojo flowing. Completely understand that. This was an interesting move. The Bears did have the opportunity to score before the half. So it kind of was like, we could have had like a 2-for-1 situation there, but hey, it worked out. The Bears won the game. He challenged a clear drop by Deion Bush in the first quarter. I mean, he had no possession of the ball. Deion Bush did a great job of acting, wasting a timeout. I know it's in the first half. Bears were up 7-0 at that point, but that could become a much more crucial situation. And Nagy didn't even seem like he had a conversation with anybody upstairs and was like, oh, nope, I'm just going to throw a challenge flag on that. And then he called a timeout on 3rd and 23 when the Lions were starting to get some momentum and potentially get back into the game. That was the big kicker for me when I was like, what are you doing calling a timeout on 3rd and 23? Which then the Bears end up just doing a quick screen pass to Damian Williams for 7 yards. So, Tony, those are my negatives from Matt Nagy today. I'm happy he was wearing the visor. It seems like that's the luck. But, overall, I did have the big issue with at least the final two, the challenge and the timeout. But I guess the coin toss not that bad.
Yeah, I agree with you on the coin toss thing actually, I really don't have that much of an issue with it because it seems like the game plan was, like you said, kind of get the ball first, run it down their throat, establish a run game, build your rookie's confidence, put the pressure on Goff and the Lions right away at home. They executed it well. If they didn't, then yes, it could have been a completely different story where, let's say the Lions go 2-for-1 at the end of the half. But at the same time, again, as long as you execute, I'm not going to say, oh, they could have messed it up. Oh, they could have, lost. I won't say that. So I'm happy it worked out. The other stuff, the challenge, I'm curious if maybe Nagy was just going with this guy, Deion Bush, I caught it, challenge it. And he's like, hey, I believe in you. That's what it was. Well, maybe it's got to be a little bit more of a coach. And then the timeout, I didn't care. That one wasn't great. The one I cared about more was that 4th and 3 at midfield when they called the timeout for punting it away and then just punted it away. It's like, why just take the 5 yards? Who cares? It made no sense. But overall, we won the game. Not going to complain about it.
We won the game.
Yep,
absolutely. So, that was just kind of it. You got to find a way to throw shots at Nagy. Everyone was like, oh, Matt Nagy's going to silence the critics. No, his assistant coaches did everything for him. So Matt Nagy was obviously the problem for this Bears offense. But again, it's been 1 week. So I would like to see Bill Lazor call next week's game, especially against the Raiders in Las Vegas. So that's going to be a very, very good test for them. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball really fast, Tony. Alec Ogletree led the way for the Bears defense today with 12 tackles, 10 solo, 2 assists. He also had a really nice pass tip in the end zone, which was huge for the Chicago Bears. I mean, Alec Ogletree has been a great signing so far. There is no doubt about that. Let's go into the guys that were getting to Jared Goff today. 4 sacks for the Bears today, 2 fumbles, sacked by Roquan Smith, Robert Quinn. Hang on, we're going to get to his stats in a second. Travis Gibson and Khalil Mack all was sacked. So Mack, even with the foot injury, was ripping it up today. What a bounce back season so far for Robert Quinn. So, he had his 5th sack today. I don't know where he stands now on the leaderboard in the NFL, but he was 7th last time we talked about it. So he has 5 sacks through 4 games for the Chicago Bears. Very impressive. He is definitely gaining that money. Roquan Smith had his 2nd sack of the season today. Gibson had his 1st career sack, and then Khalil Mack had his 4th sack. So he's averaging a sack per game. So looking really good. What a bounce back season for Robert Quinn so far. Like Tony, I know that you and I both said that this guy is defensive comeback player of the year, but he's ripping it up right now and he's getting that money.
Yeah, no, he's absolutely earned his contract this year. 100%. There was that one play against the Bengals where he pushed Joe Burrow a little bit late out of bounds. We're like, oh, back to the same old Robert Quinn. But it hasn't been. He absolutely, I don't know if it was Chuck Pagano last year not using him right. I think it was obviously a lot of, he was kind of hurt. He was injured. But he's had a heck of a resurgence this year. And it's honestly great to see. I'll get back to you with the sack leaderboard in a minute once we go through it.
Okay, great. So while Tony's looking that up, let's just go back a little bit more to the defense really fast. Nice day for the secondary mostly. They gave up a touchdown in the 3rd to a wide open Khalif Raymond. He had the 2 touchdown passes today from Jared Goff, but it was wide open. It was kind of like that one touchdown, I believe it was to Cooper Kupp in that week 1 against the Rams, where he was just wide open. It looked like there was just a miscommunication, but otherwise the defensive secondary played great today. Good, strong tackles, recovering the field really well, and their wide receiver. So good on them for that. Deon Bush with another big game, while Tayshaun Gibson Sr. is out. So keep it up, Deon Bush. You're doing really great so far. He definitely was upset that he wasn't named the starting cornerback, but he's filling in for right now at the safety position. He's doing a pretty good job. So hats off to him. Akeem Hicks went out early this game with an injury, though. That was very quiet and kind of the shadow of the game. Dave Montgomery's injury was a lot more serious, but Akeem Hicks only played 1 defensive snap today. So stay tuned for that. More info to come. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. Our handle's below. We will have updates on Akeem Hicks as soon as we know, and we will be posting it there right away. So stay tuned for that. And then Sean Desai is doing an amazing job so far this year. Defensive coordinator, 1st year defensive coordinator, taking over from Chuck Pagano last year. Tony, are you pleased with how Coach Sean Desai is doing so far with this defense? Is there anything else you would change?
No, honestly, I do think that first Rams game was an anomaly, because even last week, I know they kind of got blown out against the Browns. Well, they did get blown out. I don't know why I put quotes on it, but it wasn't the defense's fault. They absolutely did their job. That was all on the offense. So, it's 3 good games in a row by the defense. Obviously they're still letting, some of these guys are still beating the secondary. But overall, I'm not too worried. Eddie Goldman stepped up. He's back. That was huge. He had that 1 offsides, which was annoying, but at the same time, whatever.
Horrible offsides.
I'll get over it. As long as he gets a couple sacks, I'll get over it. I know we got some banged up guys out there, but the backups have stepped up. He's definitely schemed guys open. Mario Edwards Jr. and Tonga, who is just getting absolutely screwed by the officials. He is not. Yeah. He is. That one penalty was a little aggressive today, where he just destroyed the guy, but that was a soft penalty.
Well, that's what the NFL is slowly starting to become. Everyone agrees with it. They got to get rid of the taunting penalty. There was no taunting calls today, but holy cow, they got to get rid of it. So let's go. Did you get that sack total by chance, Tony, before we go into Santos?
Yeah, so it looks like I think he's at 4.5 according to the Chicago Bears PR. And ESPN hasn't updated anything. None of the websites have anything updated. So I think he's 1 off the lead, unless Myles Garrett had a sack today.
Well, that's very possible. So he has Myles Garrett and his absolute animal. So let's go into number 3. Shout out to Cairo Santos really fast, 32 field goals in a row. Where were you in 2018, my friend? We really need you to back them, but happy to have him now. Bears have him locked up over the contract for the next couple of years. So excited about that. Now let's go into the next 5 games super fast, Tony, next 2 minutes. Disclaimer, a lot of these teams that we are about to talk about are playing right now as we record. So the next 5 games for these Chicago Bears in order: at Las Vegas Raiders, who are 3-0 as of right now during recording. Then we have so that would be week 6 against the Packers, who are 2-1. Hopefully we'll be 2-2 after today. Hopefully go Steelers. I'm rooting for you right now. And then you go down to Tampa Bay to take on Tom Brady and the Bucs, who are 2-1 right now. They are playing tonight as Brady goes back to Foxborough. Going to be a super exciting game. We highly suggest you guys tune in for that. And then the Niners come to town on Halloween, who are 2-1 right now. They are playing. We will have more to that. And then the Steelers, who are playing the Packers right now, are 1-2. Hopefully they are 2-2 after the day if they take down the Packers while recording. Hoping for that. Tony, what would your realistic Bears record be after this 4-game stretch? Or 5-game stretch. 5-game stretch.
Yeah, I took the word realistically very loosely here, and I'm saying 4-1. I think we're going to lose to the Bucs. I think that just Tom Brady is not going to be happy about last year. But I do think the Bears beat the Packers. I think this is a game. This is going to be the Bears Super Bowl, and that's, I know it's sad. It is what it is. But Lovie Smith, when Lovie Smith came to town the first time, he came here to beat the Packers. And I think Fields, he's had that Ohio State-Michigan rivalry in his blood. I think that he is good enough, and he's going to take it seriously enough, obviously more than just his job, but also for the fans and everything, where he cements his legacy by taking out Aaron Rodgers early in the season. And we can get to the second Packers game later in the year when he beats them.
Yeah. Just worry about the now. Just worry about the now. And it's also it's at Soldier Field, which is great. The Bears obviously are 2-0 at Soldier Field so far this year, so we got that going for us. So keep it up, Bears. That's all we got to say to that. In all honesty, I think the Bears are going to go 3-2. I know that's fine with me, especially after probably the toughest stretch of games for this upcoming season. I think they beat the Raiders and the Packers, so the Bears will end up going 4-2. They lose to the Bucs, that's 4-3. They beat the Niners, which is 5-3, and then they lose to the Steelers because, honestly, if, with the offensive line, we obviously cannot go against teams with good defensive lines. Like, that is the Bears' biggest struggle right now. I know I was just giving my hats off to the offensive line, but they have not proven that yet. They have to prove it more than just the Rams. They did not prove it against the Browns. So I'm going 3-2, but my optimistic side, they're going 5-0. They'll be 7-2 after that stretch. So very excited about that. But again, what a day. Victory Sunday. Bears win 24-14 against the Detroit Lions. Bears are hopefully going to be tied for first after tonight. So go Steelers. We're going to go back to Steelers right now during editing. So stay tuned for that. But with that, Tony, thank you very much for joining this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. Stay tuned tomorrow as Tony's going to be going over the White Sox as the White Sox are about to get ready for playoff baseball. So with that, thank you very much for joining this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Rohde. Join alongside Tony Sapita, and we will see you guys next time.